What's up guys, it's Lord Botha here with another video, and we are talking House of the Dragon Season 2 today.
Oh shit, here we go again.
That's right, House of the Dragon Season 2's finale was last night. The season is over, and I gotta say, people do not seem to be happy with the finale. This comes to us from Forbes' House of the Dragon Season 2, Episode 8 review. A hugely underwhelming season finale. Sunday night's season finale of House of the Dragon would have made a really amazing penultimate entry to Season 2. Imagine that ending, knowing that 1 week from now there will be blood. Thinking about all the things that were set up, all the little pieces poised and ready, all the matchsticks drawn, hovering over the tinder.
Yeah, boy.
And then they do a rundown of all the things that happened over the season in the last episode. Alas, we likely have 2 or even 3 full years before we get payoff on all these cliffhangers. And for all we know, the next season could be just 6 episodes. And the thing about waiting for Game of Thrones is that we're far too accustomed to it. I've waited 13 years for Winds of Winter, and I'm afraid I'll be waiting 13 years more. Yeah, you'll probably be waiting until George R.R. Martin kicks the bucket. Personally, I think that he actually has the book written already, and he's just sitting on it with special instructions to his publisher to release it when he dies. And I think he's doing that specifically because he doesn't want to have to deal with the backlash if people don't like the ending. It's his ultimate fuck you. Oh, you don't like this ending that I gave? You think it's shit? Well, guess what? I'm dead, so it doesn't matter to me. It's been 2 years since Season 1 of House of the Dragon and 8 years since a good season of Game of Thrones aired. I like that they qualified here by saying good. We have waited, Your Grace, long enough. We do not want to wait 2 more years to see what happens next. The thing about Season 2 is that it has been, for the most part, quite brilliant. Phenomenal character and world building, enormous attention to detail, lots of great dialogue, and even some funny bits thanks to Sir Simon Strong, Ulf the White, and now Lohar the Pirate Queen. Originally a man in the books, but I prefer this bawdy woman and her many wives. Well, actually, her character is actually a trans character in the book, which I do not claim is woke or any kind of ideology shoving or anything like that, because her character does exist in the actual books, and her and the pirates come from a very debaucherous place, where social norms and morals of the rest of the world are not adhered to. So it does make sense in a way. Now, will the writers use this as a reason to push more agenda stuff? Maybe, there's a good chance. Combined with the other stuff we've seen, there's probably a good chance of that. The problem is that we now have 2 seasons of table setting with very little action. Season 1 was largely devoted to setting up the conflict, fleshing out the cast, giving us an understanding of what leads up to this brutal and terrible war. That makes sense for a first season. But Season 2 was generally more of the same. Lots of pieces moving about the board, but only a moment or 2 of real action. And I think the driving force behind this is the fact that this show is only going to have 4 seasons. And anybody who's read the books knows that there's a lot more content they're going to have to cram in these next 2 seasons. The response online you can see here, House of the Dragon Season 2, and what is he being served? Nothing. House of the Dragon Season 2 Arc, Episode 1, War is about to happen. Episode 8, War is about to happen. Character stories are great, but at least move the story a little bit. Over 8 hours of screen time, and the overall story didn't move at all. This season of House of the Dragon was the worst season in the whole Game of Thrones universe, including Season 8 of Game of Thrones.
Hold up. Wait a minute.
I don't know if I'd go that far. Why not give us a real season finale? Seems like every episode you thought next week will be the one, and the one won't come for another 2 years. They really made us watch a mud fight instead of giving us a satisfying ending to this season of House of the Dragon. Yes, Lohar and Tywin Lannister have a mud fight. In fact, this is a big criticism I have. Now, if you ask me my personal opinion on the season finale, I'll start by saying I think this entire season has been really a tale of sieges. Daemon's mind and consciousness is constantly under siege at Harrenhal. King's Landing is under siege from the blockade. And Rhaenyra is under siege from fear about losing or being lost in battle, so she has to remain in her castle. Even the one battle that they showed this season was a siege. Everybody's under siege and too afraid to make any moves. Which, does it build suspense? Yes. Does it pay off any of that suspense? No. because this season had 3 problems. The first was the agenda pushing, the woke DEI bullshit. I already talked about the trans character and what they might be doing with that, though it is lore and is explainable. But then again, the Valarians being black was also explainable first season, and that led to even more DEI pushing this season. And of course, we have that gay kiss. All of that is agenda stuff that's just going to push viewers away. We know it, we've seen it before. It's not a road that they should go down, and they would be wise to steer quickly away from that path. And I have a very strong feeling that with some of the backlash they saw to that kiss in episode ratings, they might memory hole that and just never address it ever again. And they would be smart to do so. The second problem this show had this season was Alicent. The writers didn't know what to do with her, because in this part of the story, she doesn't have a lot really to do with anything. She does come back later and has an important role to play, but these events she doesn't really have any focus on or effect on. So they had to write for her, but she kind of just was, around. And they want to make this show some kind of battle of wits and wills against 2 strong women, Alicent and Rhaenyra, especially with their little talk in the end of this last episode. But the problem is, this story really isn't about that. But they really want it to be, because Alicent is in all the promotional stuff. She's plastered all over the posters as the model for the green side of the conflict, right? So because of that, we got a whole lot of scenes of Alicent not really doing much. Like that wading in the water scene. Well, I don't know why we had that or what that was about. The third, and this is the biggest problem, pacing. There is a lot of stuff they still have to cram into this story by the end of season 4, and I don't know if they have enough time to do it now. They have a lot of battles and a lot of characters to introduce and still cover. And how they're pacing the show is honestly a little weird. How is Tywin Lannister able to arrive in Essos, broker an alliance with the Triarchy, have a mud wrestling fight to establish dominance with their leader, and then smash and impregnate their leader's wives, all in one episode, and Daemon went through an entire season of being haunted in Harrenhal?
Well, now I gotta haunt you.
Those are the 3 main problems I thought this season had. There were some other small problems that probably did affect the show. The first was obviously money. The clear green screen usage and the worsening CGI of this last episode shows that by the end they were starting to run out of time and money to produce this show. And it's very obvious in the last episode. I mean, you can tell the green screen and the CGI, it looks worse than the opening episodes. And the last small problem this show had was this season was being made during the writer's strike. So obviously there's going to be some problems when it comes to the on-the-fly script rewrites, and in general not having your writers available is going to put a crunch on the team. But with this bad taste in people's mouths at the last episode, I don't know if there's going to be a huge return of the same audience in 2 full years when the show comes back. That's a long time to be off. And leaving your audience on a sour note cliffhanger is not the way I think you should do it. Or anyone should do it. But that's just my thoughts on the finale of Season 2 of House of the Dragon. If you have your own thoughts, go ahead and leave them in the comments. If you like this video, go ahead and like, share, and subscribe. If you didn't like this video, I appreciate you listening to all of it. And we'll talk to you again later.